going to share Duncan Williamson's Travellers Cinderella. Duncan Williamson was a Scottish traveller. He was born on the banks of Loch Fyne in a bow tent. He was a tradition bearer and knew 2,000 stories and about 3,000 songs, many of them ballads that he composed. And what I want to share to you today is his Travellers Cinderella, but as composed as my ballad. I've put some Scottish words in it. So a gaddie is a man, and bairns and weans are children, you probably knew that. Bleggering is calling out and crying out. The quarries were people who had children's homes and they looked after orphans, but unfortunately they were implicated in some traveller children being taken from their parents and sent to Canada. And the burkers were grave robbers. The puddocks are frogs. A benamort is a grand noble woman, and benahantle is grand noble people. Duncan Williamson was a traveller gaddie fine, well storied on the banks of Loch Fyne. And the best of those stories at furnace he availed, from his father to his weans this tale. The Travellers Cinderella, as they telt it to their own, maybe it's the one Pierrot stole. But what's the truth? We'll wonder more, but here it is in the traveller's lore. Mother and father were real travelling kin, granny weans and the tent they lived in. Wandering the highlands, the warm summer fair, in winter still by grace of the laird. Well, the next new baby came along, and granny brought her up as her own. And Mary gave Mary her loved daughter Mary, and a fine young woman was grown. One cold dark night they arrived at their scene, mother, father and many more weans. With little fear they built their tent, behind some trees their fire it went. This year the laird's consent may not be meant. A few days passed, they were not disturbed, so it seemed that most danger was curbed. No wean would be took by cruel quarry's book, no burker would sell them to a crook. 'Twas just before Christmas, a parade rattled past, benahantle to the party at the castle. Mary ached for the company of lad and lass. 'Twas not to be, for from head to toe in rags was she. As evening fell, Granny went to the brook and hooked 2 puddocks on a crook. Hare's cabbage leaf and butterfly were carriage driver white horsey, and a benamort was she. She stepped from the cart and was admired as art, and in love was the lad's unswelling heart. They waltzed beneath the great window, with eye on moon she knew to go, and when it dropped, just a slipper left low. The carriage, the footman and the horses were gone, running free, her black hair shining long. She laughed in rags as home she flew. The lad's son lost but found a shoe. His heart was broken clean in two. His daddy found him weeping and bade him go a-reaping for foots that would fit snug and true. But no foots fit that crystal shoe, so peely-wally bad his hue. Sad homeward bound, close he drew. They came to the wood curtain, sure love's lost was certain, and the traveller Ben's a blackguard pulled them in. The parents were aghast to see huge countrymen on horses three. Would it be homes and jail or forced to flee? But twice through his tale the son did regale mother, father, then granny the detail. They said they'd seen the Benimort, but they knew nothing of her court. Sorrowful son, his plan was thwart. Then out from her tent sauntered Mary as she went. Son dropped from his mount for her consent. She rolled her eyes and humoured him. He told her love was not a whim. On bonny foot, glass shoes sat trim. It's her, my love, my queen. I'll take you right away from Forest Green. But Granny there and Father knew to leave was not the thing to do. He left alone till gloaming was through. But Father, he was not convinced, and he scorned Granny's magic as a witch. But Granny knew the best to call for Mary's son and families all. Love over gall would conquer all. As evening fell, Granny went to the brook and hooked 2 puddocks on a crook. Hare's cabbage leaf and butterfly were carriage drive a white horsey, and Mary shone with true nobility. And the best of all weddings was had by all, a feast for the belly, eyes and feet. They'd a huge bonny family, son and Mary loved so happily. The family's safe behind the wood curtain, for kind permission was considerably more certain.